Okay, so as I advertised, this is just a second, one more person coming in. This is the last class in the series of Journey Through the Jewish Year. And our journey through the Jewish year began in January last year. And so we went through the secular calendar as opposed to the Jewish calendar, but we covered all the bases, and all the recordings are there on my channel for those of you who missed some classes before. But we're going to end this one, kind of this journey, with a discussion about Christmas and Jews and Christmas, since Christmas is the end of the week, and the impact that Christmas has had on Jewish, non-Jewish relations and anti-Semitism, etc. So some of us may think that's kind of weird to be, what kind of impact does Christmas have on anti-Semitism? All we have to do is look to today's newspaper, today's Washington Post. In the Metro section, there's an article about a bizarre and scandalous incident that took place in an elementary school in DC on Friday. So this is how the article, I printed it out from the Washington Post website. The headline on the article is DC third graders were made to reenact episodes from the Holocaust. So that doesn't raise eyebrows. The article begins, a Watkins Elementary School staff member told third graders in library class to reenact scenes from the Holocaust, directing them to dig their classmates' mass graves and simulate shooting the victims, according to an email from the school's principal. The instructor was placed on leave Friday. So the incident happened on Friday, and the instructor was placed on leave on Friday. She allegedly assigned specific roles to students. She cast one student as Adolf Hitler, according to an email from Watkins Elementary School principal Scott Berkowitz to the third graders' parents. He did not name the staff member. That student who was asked to play Hitler is Jewish, according to the parent of a student who was asked to participate. At the end of the exercise, the child was told to pretend to commit suicide as Hitler did. So the email goes on from the principal about how terrible this whole situation is. And why did this happen? The instructor, further down in the article, allegedly made anti-Semitic comments during the reenactment. The parents said that when the children asked why the Germans did this, the staff member said it was, quote, because the Jews ruined Christmas, end quote. Okay, so lest we think that that 2021 is different from 1930s Germany or 1900s Pale of Settlement in Russia or medieval Europe, anti-Semitism is still alive and well in our so-called free and advanced and open modern society. Okay, obviously this is an exception, but still, we know from the Anti-Defamation League that anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise in this country, dramatically on the rise, and even more so in Europe. So this is just an example, a horrific example of how anti-Semitism is still there, and how anti-Semitism, for many, is connected to Christian ideology. Okay, so what I mean by that is that there are many Christians who still firmly believe that the Jews are responsible for Jesus's crucifixion. simply put, that the Jews killed Jesus. Okay? And even though Pope John the 23rd, 60 years ago, in the Second Vatican Council, wrote that the Jews did not kill Jesus, and so that is official Catholic Church doctrine, that the Jews did not kill Jesus, right? So let me step back here. There are books in the Christian Bible that allege that the Jews did kill Jesus, not physically, but that they were the ones to testify to Pontius Pilate that Jesus is the one who is fomenting rebellion and revolt in the Roman Empire. And so the Jews were the ones, according to the books of the Christian Bible, a couple of the Gospels at least, and other books claim that the Jews were the ones who handed Jesus over to the Roman authorities, thereby sending Jesus to his death by execution, by crucifixion. Okay, so therefore, since it's in the Christian Bible, it must be true, right? That is an element to thinking about anything that's written in the Bible must be true. And so if the Bible said that the Jews killed Jesus, then it must be true. And even though the Pope says it's not true anymore, as he did 60 years ago, the myth, the legend still is perpetuated. In many Catholic circles, the Passion Play is still reenacted every year in the lead up to Easter. And in the Passion Play, there's still a role for the Jews there of handing Jesus over to the authorities. So the script of the Passion Play hasn't changed, even though, according to Second Vatican Council, the Jews no longer should be held responsible for the crucifixion of Jesus. So the lesson is still there. The legend is still there. Jews killed Jesus. And in many Christian circles today, not just Catholic, but all denominations of Christianity, that is the thinking. Many Christians today, to give them credit, see that as a historical event and therefore don't blame Jews today for what happened 2,000 years ago. But there are still many Christians today who perpetuate their anti-Semitism because of what was written in the Christian Bible. Okay, so a major element of anti-Semitism then is connected to the Bible, to the Christian Bible, and it therefore is rooted in the Christian religion. So so in this connection to Christmas, so Christmas and Easter, 2 times of year where it would be dangerous to be out in public if one were Jewish, depending on the century and depending on the place in the world a Jew was living. But certainly in medieval times, for several hundred years, Jews knew to stay inside on Christmas and to stay inside on Easter because they knew that there would be pogroms that would potentially be perpetrated and instigated at those times of year. More so on Easter, because Easter is the holiday that celebrates Jesus's resurrection. But the crucifixion had to happen in order for him to be resurrected. And therefore, the Passion Play that would have just have been enacted would have said the Jews did this. Oh, let's find Jews now and let's get our revenge for what happened to Jesus. So that would happen. And then also, of course, since Easter most often coincides with Passover, the blood libel was perpetuated as well, saying that Jews look for the Christian children to kill, to use their blood to bake matzah. So you have those two things, the Passion Play leading to pogroms. You have the blood libel, both of those related to Easter. And then, of course, the birth of Jesus, which is Christmas, is also related to this, because the celebrating the birth of the child, but then thinking, well, 33, 34 years later ends in crucifixion, another time to blame the Jews. So in relation to Christmas, if you just Google Jews playing cards on Christmas, which I did, there an article comes up on Wikipedia about this Yiddish term called Nittelnacht. Nittelnacht. Nittel is the name given to Christmas Eve by Jewish scholars in the 17th century, observed as early as the late 1500s by a Rabbi Samuel Edels. Okay, so this idea of Nittelnacht, Christmas Eve in the Jewish tradition, what did Jews do on Christmas Eve, dating back as far as 500 years ago. So here's what is said. The Yiddish word nittel for Christmas is likely derived from the medieval Latin name for Christmas, natalis, N-A-T-A-L-I-S. Although it's also often associated with the Hebrew word nitle, the hanged one, which was used in medieval times to refer to Jesus. So Nittel Nacht, Nacht meaning night, the night of the hanged one, or the night of Christmas. It's like the word bench. To bench in Yiddish means to say the grace after meals. But bench most likely comes from the Latin word benedictus, or some other form of benedict, which means blessed. So benedictus, bench, you can see there's a slight connection in the language, how it could have become in Yiddish to bench. So nittel, could nittel be natalis for Christmas? Could it be nitle from Hebrew, the hanged one, whatever it is. But Nittelnacht is this concept so this medieval Western and Central European custom to stay inside on Christmas Eve. Not the modern American custom of going out for Chinese food and a movie, but in the medieval custom of staying inside to be protected from rampaging crowds who might be looking for revenge against the Jews. So Jews were not supposed to be in the Beis Midrash. They're not supposed to be in synagogue studying as they would any other evening. They shouldn't be in the house of study studying Talmud. They should be at home. And what would they be doing at home? They'd be at home protecting their families, playing cards or playing chess. So that's the tradition for Jews who are descended from Central and Western European communities, that's all the way back from the Middle Ages. We have sources in rabbinic in rabbinic literature from the Middle Ages that describe these customs of playing chess or playing cards on Christmas Eve. But the key factor is staying safe at home, hoping that nobody's going to come knocking on the door, or not knocking, but barging through the door to kill the Jews. Things did happen on Christmas, right? Throughout history, there was on December 25th, 1100. a French count was crowned king of Jerusalem by the triumphant Crusaders, December 25th, 1100, following the pronouncement of the king of Jerusalem, that this French count became king of Jerusalem. Following that pronouncement, many Jews and Muslims living in Jerusalem were slaughtered. So December 25th, 1100 was a time to see, the whole point of the Crusades was to save Jerusalem from the infidel, from the Muslims who were there, and from the Jews along the way that the Crusades were marching across Europe to get to Israel. There were some Jews living in the land of Israel at the time, but it was mainly Muslims who were living there. There were some Christians living there too, in the Christian holy sites, but the idea of all the Crusades, there were at least three major ones that were through the blessing of the Pope and either the King of France or the King of England. King Richard the Lionhearted, for one, led crusades across Europe to save Israel and the Christian holy sites from the Muslim infidels. So the famous battles against Saladin happened in this time of the Crusades. So just so happened that December 25th, 1100, a Christian was crowned king of Jerusalem, and to celebrate, slaughtered Muslims and Jews. So there were anti-Jewish riots on Christmas Day in 1312 in Germanic states. A Christmas decree was given in Sicily in 1369, declaring that all Jews had to wear a special badge. The Ku Klux Klan was formally established on Christmas in 1865, right? So Christmas is a time where anti-Semitism, at least if not persecution and slaughter, happened throughout the centuries. So when we think of, I like to think that that I promote interfaith dialogue. And even though because of COVID, our local Interfaith Clergy Association hasn't met, I have been involved in interfaith clergy activities throughout my rabbinate. And so I am open, and most modern rabbis, even modern Orthodox rabbis, are open to interfaith dialogue. And so we see America as a place that fosters interfaith dialogue and freedom and freedom of religion. Yet, at the same time, because I'm a student of history, especially Jewish history, and I'm very sensitive to what has happened throughout the past, I am wary of and more sensitive to the rise of anti-Semitism in our country. And Christmas is not this feel-good time that the American society would want us to believe, right? Christmas songs are playing nonstop on music radio stations. We can't help seeing it. If we're watching TV, or even if we're streaming, and we don't pay extra for streaming without commercials, all the commercials are Christmas related. So we can't help it. Christmas imagery is there. There's Christmas trees. And, so related to that, Jews, of course, wanted to play along and say we're part of general society, so that throughout the ages, well, in America at least, Jews have been known to have Christmas ornaments in their homes. There were Jews who would hang stockings in their house. There were Jews who would have a Christmas tree in their house because that's seen as the American thing to do. Now, I don't know personally any Jews who do this, but I have heard of Jews who have done this. And there's an article on My Jewish Learning. That's a great website, by the way, to learn about anything about Judaism. Yes, so in this brief article, Jews and Christmas on My Jewish Learning, which was written by Rabbi Joshua Plout. Just a second. We have, right. Sinai Congregation of Chicago celebration of Hanukkah reported in the December 27th, 1878 issue of Chicago's Jewish Advance, a Jewish newspaper in Chicago, 1878. The fine temple was crowded with grown people and children. The Hanukkah tree was brilliantly illuminated with wax candles. The services commenced with the singing of the first stanza of the Hanukkah hymn by the Sabbath school children. Okay, so an idea of having a Hanukkah tree that is reported even back to 1878. So there were Jews from then on who would have so-called Hanukkah trees. I remember Saturday Night Live 20 or so years ago had Hanukkah Harry, as opposed to Santa Claus, that would come visit Jewish homes on around this time of year, for all those homes that would have a Hanukkah bush inside their homes. So it's not some bizarre kind of funny skit that Saturday Night Live would create out of whole cloth, but it's something there that was part of very secular Jewish communities that would try to, as they would do with other elements of American society, just try to incorporate. So it's one thing for Jews to be celebrating Thanksgiving and having a Thanksgiving dinner. There's nothing religious about it. It's part of the civic religion of America to celebrate Thanksgiving. It's part of the story of who we are as Americans. So that's okay for Jews to celebrate. But a Christmas tree, that's a bit different. Whatever we think about a Christmas tree, whether it's from pagan elements, whether it's totally secular, there's nothing religious about it or not, it smacks of the major icon symbol of the Christmas holiday. And since Christmas is a religious holiday, Jews shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't have a Christmas tree in the house. So, but that doesn't stop Jews from doing things. Just because a rabbi might say not to do it doesn't mean that Jews won't do it. It's all part of what it means to become to become fully American. And that's what Jews wanted to do when they came to America to escape persecution. Let's totally immerse ourselves in American society, take on American names, learn English as fast as we can, and become part of, drop our Jewish names if we make it in Hollywood, right? So today, Jews who make it in Hollywood keep their names, but 30, 40 years ago and more, Jews would never dream of doing that. Jack Benny, George Burns, Kirk Douglas, all these people dropped their names, their original names, and came up with these American sounding names. I guess people wouldn't go to the movies if they knew what Kirk Douglas's, and I can picture what his name is, but it's some long Yiddish sounding name. Imagine that on the poster, Kirk Douglas and the leading lady. And if it wasn't Kirk Douglas, it was Itzkovitz or something like that. Yisraelovich, I forget, something like that. Yisraelovich and I don't know, the other leading lady. That would be a shanda to have that up there. Better that it's Kirk Douglas. So and Burt Lancaster and all those people. So anyway, so when I think, Yes, thank you. My father put it in the chat. Isar Danielevich. Okay, thank you. I knew there was an Israel or Isser, something there, part of his name. Yeah, so you can't imagine Isser Danielevich and who would be a leading lady at the time. I don't know, come up with some leading lady's name. It would be kind of a bizarre kind of coupling on a Hollywood movie poster. So when I was thinking of this topic today, these are the things that were coming to mind. This and Christmas leading to anti-Semitism. This story that was in the Washington Post this morning, and also just the history of what Jews would do on Christmas in order to save themselves from potential slaughter and persecution. So, any other thoughts or comments or questions about this? So, I wanted to say that though this ends the class on Journey Through the Jewish Year, I plan in January, once a month, the second Monday of the month. So just look for information that will be coming out shortly. The second Monday of the month, I want to do something about the spirituality of Jewish law, and that we might not think of Jewish law as being spiritual, but Jewish law is, and what the conservative movement has to say about it in terms of, we'll look at some recent papers that have come out from the Law Committee, and just to see why the Law Committee felt necessary to discuss this, and how they felt that in a new evolution interpretation of Jewish law, they're making law more accessible and more spiritual in the process. So we'll take a look at some of those papers on once a month on the second Monday of the month. So I want to wish everybody a happy and a healthy secular new year, a good vacation. I'm away next Monday, which is why this is our last journey class for the year. And I hope to see people in January, the second Monday in January. That would be January 10th for the spirituality of Jewish law class. Have a good rest of the day, everybody. Take care.